Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Collective beautiful souls. Beautiful collective souls. So, I uh, I really love and appreciate everybody, no matter what. No matter what my experience has brought me, but my experience has brought me many experiences of serving others, but being used. I've learned a lot about life and love and God and even universal laws. And most of the places that I go, I am mocked behind my back. I'm spoken of in a way when I'm not around and I come around. I can feel the presence of those conversations that weren't so nice about me. and which is fine. That's where people are. But for me, I've experienced it so many times that I don't want to experience it anymore. God's calling me to serve my heart and His sole purpose for my life. And I think that God's actually calling all of us to do that. And part of the reason why is because if we are hearing somebody's heart come out verbally, and they're talking about things that beautify their life, that make them feel wholesome, fulfilled, and we go silent, or rather, we take that stuff in, whomever, and we try to make it into ourselves, not knowing that God has that in that person's heart, not in that person's head. So it's one of those things where you got to use discernment to really know and understand who's for you and who's against you. But whenever there's a common goal to use your loving services that is very attractive, that attracts abundance whenever you're in that vibration of love, loving service. And I think that God's just calling us all of us, to come into our heart space and realize who we are. So that way we're not out here trying to be somebody that we're not, based on events and downloads from their personality that God has created and developed through their experience. So, with that being said, we all have a purpose for living, for breathing, for being every day. Every day we have purpose. We have a purpose for waking up. And every day it might look a little different, but inside of our heart, we have a calling to reflect God in our everyday. And if we're being influenced by environment to the degree that it changes who we are, then God is calling us away from that environment. If who we are isn't able to influence others, and it comes from a place of purity and God, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what college you went to, what on paper you can prove that you've learned. What matters is where your heart is at and where you're actually serving, what you're actually serving. If it is to gain favor of another or because they're of authority, do you continue the lie even though you know it's a lie? Or do you say, that ain't right, man? Because that's where we're at. That's what's going on in our world, and that's what we're being called to do. We're being called to say, no. Nope, I will step in for that person. I'll speak in their place because that's not right. When you've had the direct experience of who somebody is, and that isn't what words reflect, then there's probably something that doesn't align there. How can I align with being a total crap storm whenever I go and am around others, and the beauty that God would like for me to express is able to be expressed. And then others where you're having challenges being who you are. If you're having challenges being who you are, I think that's a pretty good indication that you should move. But and also, if people around you that you've given loving service to, if they are using you to make themselves gain, and in that they are, when people talk to you about stuff that you talked to them about 3 or 4 years ago that they rejected you about, and then you try to vibe with them whenever they get to talking about it, but it's real cut short, I think there's something there that is telling us that that's not really where that person's heart is. They don't really know this stuff. They're just showing a little bit of interest so that way they can gain favor for whatever they got going on. So, guys, we got to be discerning out here. We got all kinds of beautiful, beautiful gifts that God gave us in our heart, and we should express it. We should go against the current. We should not follow the path of everyone else. That is the widened path. We should beat down a new path and create a new trail for everyone else. That's what we should be doing. And it should be by our heart, not by what we're attached to, what we can't live without. It shouldn't be by that. It should be by our heart. It should be through God. I love you guys. I love you guys. I hope this wasn't too long. Cool. Yeah, man. I'll see y'all next time. Have a wonderful day.